I don't think she really needs an introduction, but this lady's awesome. She's a go-getter. She's doing blogs. She's raising a family. She's running a real estate business. She's running probably all of Harry Marsh's offices. But there's something new that she wants to announce and discuss, so I'm going to let her run through this, and then we're going to get into more short-term stuff. So, Kaitlin Rush, everyone.
Hello. Thank you for that introduction, and thank you for inviting me here to speak tonight. So I recognize a lot of the people in this room. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kaitlin Rush. I have worked for and with Harry Marsh for a really long time. Too long. Yeah, well, that's the next slide. But it's good to see everyone tonight. It's been a while since I've been out, so thank you for coming. I am going to talk really fast, and I'm going to go over a lot of information. I'm probably not going to have any time for questions at the end of this because we have other stuff to cover. At the end of this, if you want to talk to me directly, I'm happy to talk to you about anything that I go over right now. So that top part there is something that Harry wrote himself. That wasn't by me, but Harry will tell you that I'm the brains of this outfit. He just smiles and looks pretty. And to a degree, that might be a little bit true, but the reality of it is we just make a really good team. We operate really well together. We've been married for close to 10 years. We did meet on Craigslist, but that's a story for another day. So Harry Marsh Law started out as a foreclosure defense law firm in 2011, back before the market had corrected itself. And there were a lot of lawyers going after people for foreclosure, and there was nobody that was representing the homeowners at the time. So we saw the opportunity to do that, and we started doing foreclosure defense. During that process, I became a realtor because it quickly became apparent that if we could not help somebody avoid foreclosure with a loan modification, then we could help them avoid foreclosure with a short sale. And so we did both things to help people. In 2014, we started doing real estate closings because I was not happy with the closing attorneys available at the time. And I am a little bit of a control freak, and I like having control of my files, and I did not like working with other paralegals. So Harry and I made the best business decision we've ever made, and that was to hire a paralegal who had been doing real estate closings for 30 years, who was nearing retirement, and she taught us how to do real estate closings, start to finish, before she ended up retiring. So that's how we got into the business. So over the past 7 years, Harry and I together have grown the law firm from doing 5 closings a month with 2 employees, the 2 of us, to doing over 400 closings a month with 23 full-time employees. So just a little bit about Harry Marsh Law. We only do real estate closings right now. There's not really a market for foreclosure defense, thankfully. We could always pivot back to that if things change, but I do not think it will. We have 4 offices, and we're adding a 5th office this month. Matthews, Gastonia, South Charlotte, Huntersville, and we're adding Fayetteville. By the end of this month, it will be fully operational. Again, we do 400 closings a month, 23 full-time employees. We do title in-house. We have a full title team in-house, 3 North Carolina attorneys and 2 South Carolina attorneys. So I'm just going to go through, we've had a lot of updates this year, and I just want to go through them really quickly because a lot of the people in this room are regular clients, and I just want to update everybody about what's going on with the firm right now. So we do have a new office in Matthews, which is considered the main headquarters because that's the office that Harry works out of. We purchased a 15-office building right off of Independence. Over the next month, they're going to be renovating the outside of it completely, but during the construction, we will be fully operational on the inside and we'll continue to do closings. In the past 2 months, we've added 4 new in-house title searches. So we are getting a lot of new business from people who are bringing us contracts saying my closing attorney won't accept this because they are 2 months out on doing closings. So we made the decision, instead of turning that type of business away, we would just continue to add employees. And so that is what we continue to do. Having in-house title searchers allows us to handle emergency closings if we need to do that. That means we can turn an emergency closing around in 24 hours or less if we need to. If you've been to any of our offices, then you've seen our gargoyle mascots. Every office has a different one, so if you wanted to try to collect them all and turn them into an NFT or something, then you can try to close in different offices. But really, the story is Harry likes to drink a lot at night and order random stuff from China is where all of this stuff comes from. We are working on building 24/7 support channels. This is a work in progress that has to be built up and learned. A lot of it involves AI. But what we've added right now is 7 phone lines, Facebook messaging, online chat, text messaging, and it's all built into a ticketing system for prioritization and faster response teams to get you in front of the person who can best help you as soon as possible. Certified. So in the past 2 months, I've seen more wire fraud than I have in the past 7 years. At least once a week, somebody impersonates us and sends out fake wire instructions to somebody. Certified, thankfully none of our clients have become a victim to this, but Certified is a secure online platform that verifies the identity of both the sender and the receiver of wire instructions. So moving forward, we will never send wire instructions to the person who is sending a wire unless it's through the certified system. And once the identity of the person is verified, then certified will insure that wire up to $1 million. So it protects our clients by communicating wire instructions through that system. By using this system, it also allows us to accept seller wire instructions by email, which is something that a lot of mail-away sellers want to send us information through. And for a while, we weren't able to do that because of the prolific amount of wire fraud going on right now. There's so much, and this is an industry-wide situation. It's not just reliant to our firm. This is happening. There are a lot of predators out there who are impersonating and preying on really inexperienced buyers who are not familiar with the wire process, and people pretend to be paralegals or law firms sending fake wire instructions out. And thankfully, like I said, we have not experienced that with any of our clients, but we have seen where people are impersonating law firms. It happens to us at least once a week. So please do not accept any wire instructions unless they come through the certified system. Automation. In the past few months, we have moved most of our internal processes to the automated and fully digitalized system. So what this means is instead of having the employees rely on their brains for telling them what to do first and how to prioritize tasks are based in a digital queue. The computer tells them how to prioritize tasks based on the closing date and other parameters in the file. So what this means is for the end client experience, you're going to get better and faster services for your closings. I've added the help desk this month, which is a growing resource of information. This is both an external and internal knowledge-based system. Every time we get a question, it gets added to the help desk. And eventually this help desk will have all of the information, so they're not knowledge silos hidden away in somebody's brain. It will be accessed by everyone. It's also going to create easier training and onboarding for new employees. All of the information is going to be consistent and shared with everybody who needs to have that information, externally with third parties and internally with employees. So the crypto space is a growing and moving space that changes by the month. And I'm very passionate about it, and any spare time I have, I'm researching this. As of right now, we cannot accept cash to close by crypto. That's not to say it will be different next month. I have been told by other people that this is possible with BitPay or BitCard. I have not verified that, and I'm not familiar with either of those systems, but people have told me that you can convert your crypto into US dollars and send it for your cash to closing through those systems. That's something I plan to research. We can't accept crypto for any services that are not cash to close, and those are my crypto wallets if you want to send me money. We have a few paralegals who are fluent in different languages. That is our fantastic paralegal, Margarita. She is fluent in Spanish. We also have a Russian and Filipino speaking paralegal for any of our clients who English is a second language to them. So as of today, we converted to fully online smart forms that when we set up a file on our end, Kristen Baker used to send out an email. Today she clicks a button and the automation process starts. And part of that automation process is online smart forms that allows both the buyer and the seller to complete all of their data online without having to print out a PDF. And they can even do it from their cell phones. So again, this is going to create faster closing times to get us the data we need to close. Obviously, we still have the PDFs for old school people, but this is just going to automate and make things faster. So that rolled out today. I just want to take a minute to talk about our new secure online client portal and mobile app. So what this does is it's automated communication to the outside third parties. So instead of you being in the dark about where your closing is, moving forward, as milestones and checklists are completed internally with our team, automated updates will be sent out to approved third parties, realtors, wholesalers, buyers, sellers, lenders, mortgage brokers. The information that each contact receives is based on who they are in the file and who we set the perimeters for them to receive specific documents and data. So as we complete things, it's kind of like a pizza tracker where things are moving along. All of this will be automated and sent out to everyone as things are happening on our end in the file. On top of that, you will have forever access to every document that we have approved for you. So that means that everything's tied to your email address. So moving forward, every email that, every closing you handle with us, you'll have access to the documents from the secure online portal. So in 2 years from now, when you need that signed HUD statement or that 1099 form, instead of having to email us or call us or ask for the documents, you have the power to log in and download it yourself, and you'll have access to that information forever. Once you are set up in the system, you will have access to place an order for new files, and you can actually input the data, very minimal data for the buyer, the seller, and upload your contract directly into our system for immediate confirmation that we received the closing and it's immediately in process. So instead of having to email us a contract, you can actually start that process yourself and have immediate confirmation that it is being worked on our end. Close from home. This is one of my favorite things. So for the past year, the state of North Carolina has been marketing and branding the Video Notarization Act as something that is temporary. And we have a contact who is directly involved with writing the bill to make this a permanent law that is currently with the General Assembly. This will be permanent law, and so we are moving forward with implementing processes to do remote online closings if needed. That law is going to be called the Remote Online Notarization Act. This is really good for sellers who are in jail or in nursing homes, because that is a huge problem with finding notaries to help those people. But it's super convenient. We've been doing it for a few weeks now and How it works is our office will either overnight the documents to you or the day of closing. If we don't have them in advance, send them to you to print out. So the thing is, the Register of Deeds and most lenders still require wet signatures. So we do have to get that wet signed signature. Every paralegal that works for us is a notary, so they can coordinate directly with you with a Google Meet video conference to meet online and watch you sign those documents. So it's just like a regular closing, but it's all virtual. We have found that the time it takes to do one of these closings is 10 minutes or less because the people get the documents the night before closing, and they've had all of that time to review everything, and by the time we jump on the video call, no one has any questions and they just do the signing. So it saves you time from having to travel to the office, and it just makes everything a lot more efficient. Super easy. It's great for refinances because there's the 3-day right of rescission. So there's 2 contingencies with doing this, and one is that the signer has to be physically located in North Carolina at the time of the signing. The second is we cannot record and finish the closing until we get those documents back in our possession. So again, this is perfect for refinances because of the 3-day right of rescission. It's great for sellers. It's great for anyone that they don't need everything to be done on that same day. Coming soon, we are going to rebrand into 24-hour title. Why? Because you cannot scale when your entire business is your name. We are working with a few tech companies to integrate blockchain smart contracts. Why? Because that's where everything's going. 10 years from now, honestly, this business will not exist because there won't be need for closing attorneys because it will all be peer-to-peer. But once we shift into that, we want to be at the forefront of that space. We want to be a part of it. If there is a niche for us, then it will be to facilitate smart contracts between people. Eventually, the technology will catch up to the point that everyone can do it themselves. And hopefully by then I'll be on the beach in Belize somewhere and it won't care. Again, why we're scaling up as quickly and as fast as possible. We are moving our trust account to a different bank, and I just wanted to mention this quickly because of the wire fraud issue. We've been with Town Bank for over 5 years. Starting June 1st, we are moving to Dogwood Bank. The reason is we have to start a new trust account for the new brand, and Dogwood Bank has better security, and that's really important in this industry. You will start to see the 24-hour title branding on things on a gradient, and that's to get the subconscious used to that brand with the Harry Marsh Law still integrated in it. Eventually, the Harry Marsh Law will fall off. But again, that's going to be a year-long process to get the subconscious used to that shift. Alright, so this is what everyone's talking about right now with the wholesalers and what the North Carolina bar sent. So on Monday, the North Carolina bar emailed this to Harry directly and told him that he had to read it and share it as quickly as possible. So as you might know, when you're in the investor world space, there are a lot of players in this industry, and there are a lot of players that are threatened by the players in this industry. And anyone that might help the players that are deemed a threat typically become a target. And that sums up the relationship Harry has with the bar. So they sent him this directly and just said, you need to read this. There were 9 different opinions and scenarios presented, all of them revolving double closings or wholesale assignment closings. Particularly, opinion A was in regards to wholesalers and specifically undisclosed assignment fees. And the bar has ruled that a lawyer must be able to provide accurate accountings to seller A and buyer C. So what this means is, are you allowed to do blind heads? And we've been talking to a lot of closing attorneys, and everyone generally has the same interpretation of what this says. And everyone seems to agree that no, you can't. However, there's nothing outlining whether or not you can do an assignment fee when you disclose that fee. I think that you can still do that. The language on all of these opinions were very ambiguous and vague, and we have created pointed questions that have been sent to the ethics committee of the bar asking for further clarification, and we're still waiting on more information. But the language that you must provide accurate accountings to A tends to lend to you can't do blind HUDs anymore. Are there loopholes to this? Are there solutions to it? Absolutely. So what's next? 8 of the 9 opinions were specifically in regards to double closings, A to B, B to C transactions, instead of doing a wholesale transaction. Everyone here probably knows what that is, A to B, B to C. The bar has decided that the attorney that represents B cannot represent C in a fiduciary manner, because how can that attorney represent C as a fiduciary when B closed on the same property earlier the same day for less money? They said that's a huge conflict of interest and it is not possible anymore. So the solution is to do double closings with 2 different attorneys. So every closing that comes in to Harry Marsh Law, Harry Marsh will be the fiduciary attorney for buyer B, seller B, and complete the seller documents and transactions for both closings. And Sean Dillenbeck with Dillenbeck Law, or whoever buyer C chooses to represent them, can be the fiduciary for buyer C. 2 separate attorneys, 2 separate law firms, no conflict of interest. Sean Dillenbeck says he'll charge $100 for this too, by the way. Question we get, obviously everyone's wondering, can I use C's money to close A to B? The answer to that has always been no. This hasn't changed with us. That's always been a violation of statute 45-A. There are attorneys that do this, and we've always had the opinion that this is not legal to do it. There's no way to do the accounting. Every time you have a closing, there has to be a separate ledger for every closing. How can you record the deed for A to B without having money for it with C's money? We've never allowed it, so this isn't going to change on our end. There are attorneys that do this, but I don't think they'll be able to, because the bar specifically talked about the scenario in most of their opinions and blatantly said that they will not allow it. So every closing has to be separate and independent and funded separately as a double closing with a separate attorney. It's easy. There are multiple transactional lenders who will lend money for people like this. I think there's one that sponsored it tonight. There's another one up there. Harry and I both have an ownership interest in it, but there's multiple people that can do this. Those are the terms for Ace Capital Finance, which is easy for us to do because everything's in-house and we don't need to verify anything. No paperwork, no approval. From your perspective, everything would probably be pretty much the same. There's just more paperwork on our end. And that's it. So there's our office addresses and our contact information. That's really all I had to talk about. But I talked longer than I was supposed to, so I will give it back to you.
Yes, thank you, Kaitlin. Everybody give a round of applause.